7, baby. So I wanted to do a different video today. Doing all different videos, you know what I mean? Like, I kind of want to talk about some of the things I want to do. I have this show I want to do called Posit with Positivity. One of my buddies came up with this. One of my acting buddies, Joe, came up with it. Joe G. And he would give me these gratitude lists, and I'm really big into gratitude lists, especially lately. I wasn't really into them early on in my life, but lately I'm into the self-reflections and telling yourself you're okay and being okay with not being okay and that kind of thing. So anyway, he would send me these gratitude lists, and one of the things he put on that, it said posit with positivity. And I said, wow, what a great, he said something about like, I just want to be able to posit with positivity. I really like that. And I said, wow, that's a really great kind of series that you could do to like kind of have wellness in your life. And, you know, all of them, like the holistic ways of looking at it and the Eastern way of looking at it and some of the, maybe even the Indian practices, you know, I mean, Buddhist and all the different theologies, even, you know, and philosophies. And I think there's real power in that, discussing things that need to be discussed and opening up ideas and going home with, you know, if you see a movie, right, let's say, you want to go home with like a question or like something to discuss with your loved one when you're going home, like on the way home, right? You don't go to see a movie sure, you go to these brainless movies sometimes where you just watch the action, and I love those, don't get me wrong, that's what they're for. But, you know, you go to some movies and you want to like have a discussion. So I want to pose these discussions every day. And then I also want to, like, you know, put in some tips on some of the stuff I've learned as a personal trainer and some of the things I've learned as a musician and a teacher of acting and the arts and that kind of thing. And I don't know, I want to start the day positing with positivity, if that makes sense. So one of the things that came up was his quotes. So, and then we'll do a joke of the day. But I want to just start with one and see how you guys think about. What do you think about it? I'm not really sure if I can explain this conundrum, but I think it's a really interesting concept. If you go on to one of the guys I follow, the science channels, I love Neil deGrasse Tyson and all these guys that think big and all this good stuff. And one of the channels I follow is Veritasium. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but they always come up with these really great big thought things. And one of the team there said, you know, there's this discussion that always ends in an argument for big thinkers, and it's, you know, you have the supercomputer in a room and it gives you 2 boxes, right? And you got to pick either one box or you pick both boxes, right? And the supercomputer is supposed to predict before you even get in the room. I don't know what it knows about you or whatever that is, but it's supposed to predict which you would take. You would either take both boxes, in which case if you did take both boxes, then you'd get 0, or you get so there's $1,000 in one box and there's an X on the other box. You don't know what's in the other box, and it knows that if you take both boxes, that you'll walk away with only $1 million. I mean, with only 1,000. But there's $1,000 in one box, and you take both boxes, the empty box. It knows if you're going to take both boxes that it'll leave that one empty. Right, and I'm not explaining. I know I'm not explaining this right. So and then if you take just one, if you just take the one box and leave the 1,000, that's obvious. Like it's an open box at $1,000 and an empty box that you don't know about. If you just take that box, the empty box, it has predicted anybody who's ever done that before walks away with $1 million. But you got to leave the 1,000 that you can see on the table, right? So again, I'm not explaining this right. But do me a favor, go over there, not only follow those guys because they're fantastic, but pose the question to yourself. Pose the question to your loved ones. I would love to see your reaction to this and what your thoughts on. Are you a 1-box kind of person or are you a 2-box kind of person? I won't even tell you until we'll go to another video and we'll discuss it more. All right? Okay, guys, I hope you liked it. Be well.